It's me, it's Queen Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Now, today a woman asked me a very simple question. She said that she was in a relationship with an Aquarius 6 years ago. He ghosted her, and she never saw him again. And she said that the problem is that she's never been able to let it go. She's never been able to let go of the hurt. There was a lot of things that went unsaid. They had a lot of back and forths in the relationship, and she never got closure, those kind of things. And she said that even though it's been 6 years, she has not been able to let it go. She's still angry about it sometimes. Sometimes she's still hurt about it. Sometimes, she says she fantasizes about choking him, and I totally understand that one because I've done that one myself. And she said that she doesn't know what to do about it. And see, this is the thing. Letting go is the last part. There's a process. Everything in life has a process. There's a process with this kind of thing too. The first thing you have to do is express your emotions. Your emotions are energy, and you have to get that energy out. So you have to cry that shit out. It took me months, probably almost a year, to cry out the energy from Voldemort. That's the first thing. You have to get the energy out. So if it's crying, if it's boxing, if it's punching a pillow, if it's walking, whatever method you want to use, I'm a crier. I'm a crier. Every time I have energy in me that is hurtful, I let it up. I go ahead and cry. I have no problems with crying. I cry off movies. I cry off songs. Whatever. If I feel the urge to cry, I let it go. All of that is energy. All that is pent up energy. So if you feel it, I recommend just letting it go. Some people don't like to cry. So you can use, punching a bag. Some people, they tell me crying just doesn't work for them. So you might be able to get it out through exercising or screaming, even a whole bunch of different ways. But it's energy. So that hurt, frustrated energy you have, that has to come out some kind of way. You have to figure out what is best for you. How can you get that out? And sometimes, especially with Aquarius, our emotions feel kind of stuck. So sometimes I know there's grief in me, but I can't get it out. And one of the things I'm famous for doing is watching The Notebook. The Notebook always makes me cry. So if I sit and watch The Notebook and start to think about what is hurting me, I'll start to cry about The Notebook. And then whatever is hurting me will come out as well. That's one of those Aquarius things, So we got to sometimes play little games with our emotions to get those suckers out, So that's one way. But the bottom line is you have to find something that works for you and let the emotions out. Release that energy. That is pent up hurt energy. And that energy that you have to release, it might take a while to release it. You might sit down and cry in one session. It's all kinds of different. It depends on how much is in there. How much energy is built up in there, and you let it come out. However long it takes to cry it or release it in whatever kind of way. After you're done with that, and you'll know because you after a while you have no more tears. So after you're done with that energy and you've cried, or if it's anger, you've punched a bag, you've punched a pillow, you've kicked, kickboxing, whatever. After you got out the hurt and the anger, the next phase is forgiveness. And your forgiveness phase, again, can take any amount of time. So you have to use that. So you take you do your forgiveness thing. And forgiveness work is always, it's a lot of ways to do it. So you got to pick a way. There are forgiveness techniques online. There's Iyanla Van Zant's book on forgiveness. You have to find ways to forgive him. You have to forgive him for what he did. You have to forgive him for all the things he did. You have to forgive him for leaving. And then you got to forgive yourself. Because whenever we have something to forgive, we have to make sure we've forgiven ourselves for putting up with the person, for dealing with it, whatever you need to forgive yourself for. So you do the forgiveness piece. When the forgiveness is over, that's when you can start to let it go. When the forgiveness is over and it comes to your mind, you can tell yourself, I've already dealt with that. It's gone. Let it go. And after you've told yourself that enough times, it'll slow down coming forward. It'll slow down because the energy isn't there anymore. So it'll slow down and then it will stop. In many cases, if you've done that process, then it stops, or at least it slows down considerably. It just really depends on how deep the hurt is, how deep the wound is, you know. So that's the process. You can't just say, stop this, let it go. You can't tell yourself that. Yourself is still holding on to hurt energy. So you have to go through that process of, like I said, is grief, forgive, release. And then you should be okay. At least you'll be better than you were when you started. For most of us, that's enough for us to let it go and move on to the next thing, especially when it's a situation like that. But love relationships and things like that, there is no manual to these things. There is no rule book. So it's never going to be easy. But if you do those three things, you should be able to start letting it go. All of this is a mental process. An emotional, mental, spiritual process. So one thing I want to say to you is while you're going through your process, be gentle with yourself and be patient with yourself. Don't drag the process on for the rest of your life, but don't rush yourself through it either. You have to allow yourself time, but you can't allow yourself to get stuck. Because that's the other thing, that's the other risk that you run, is to get stuck in that grieving phase. If the grieving phase takes over, I would say if it takes more than a year and a half, you're probably in the realm of being stuck. And you have to start to push yourself forward towards forgiveness. Okay? I hope that helps. So listen, guys, if you would like to donate, my PayPal will be underneath this video. If you would like to set up an appointment for a oracle card reading or a tarot reading, or sometimes I use both, that's good too. My email will be underneath here. And if you want the answer to a general question, you can email me or you can just put it underneath this video. Okay? See you later. Oh, and if you know anyone that would like this video, please pass it on and give me a thumbs up. Thank you. Bye-bye.